Now with this one, there's not very much of an introduction for you. So I'm just going to make it sweet and short. Let's get paid off of the cannabis club or cannabis sector, right? What I'm going to introduce you to is a company that's all they do. They buy the land and then they lease the land back to the grower for 10, 20 years or something like that. And then after the 10, 20 years, this company is going to be a behemoth because it's going to own all the cannabis in the United States. At least that kind of sounds like what their goal is. They're trying to be the tobacco, or like, what do you call it? Winston-Salem, Winston-Salem's, and what is it? RC Reynolds. That's what it is. RC Reynolds. They're trying to be like RC Reynolds. They're trying to capture as much as they can. And if you think about it, like, this is some stats that I'm going to talk about. Is in 1883, right? The tobacco tax accounted for 1/3 of the internal revenue collected by the United States government, right? 1/3 of all the money that the United States government made came from tobacco. In 1883, we've been shipping tobacco for what, 200 years, and 200 years later, it was still 1/3 of the economy, basically. Now, if that's crazy, let's think about all the states that are legalizing marijuana, and the second that we start getting the little marijuana packets like cigarettes in the store, it's gonna be a giant. And I mean, it's gonna continuously grow. Let's not forget about the gummies. Let's not forget about the cupcakes, your edibles, your vapors, your oils, your clothes, everything that you can think of that little plant makes. It's time to capitalize on it, and this is a great company to do it. Innovative industrial properties. Now let's break down a little bit. Let me give you the the stats real quick, and then we'll talk about the company a little bit more. Right now, yeah, it seems a little expensive. Had a little rocky in the first or in 5 years, but basically it's gone straight up. This beginning of the year must have been some kind of news driven. The whole world. Whenever it's also obviously with certain things, it's going to be news driven. You know what I mean? But then popping back down to 75, so we're right around the same place for the beginning of the year. But what I like, it's a decent return, 5.4%, right? They just announced that they're gonna put $1 per share, right? Remember, we're looking for 10 years here, minimum, right? 10, 15 years. We're not talking about tomorrow or next month, next week. We're talking about how we're gonna set ourselves up for the future, right? Now let me explain how this company is ingenious when they do this, right? All right. The sale lease back opportunities, right? On the outside looking in, to everybody else, it sounds amazing, right? You're a new farmer, you got land, you want to get into something, they'll buy it for you. You buy it from you, give you, you're strapped on cash, you can't do what you need to do, you don't have any money. Well, this company is going to come through, they're going to buy it from you, right? Look at it. Industrial and retail properties from state licensed medical use cannabis operators, right? So let's say you got in all your money to get into the weed game or in the cannabis game, right? And now you're strapped on cash. Well, this company is going to come through. They're going to liquidate you, buy everything that you have, and then lease it back to you, right? For, look right here, 10 to 20 years, right? Look at the deal size that they're trying to get, 5 to 13 million, right? And then they tell you, they're going to close extremely fast. So let's put this in perspective. So we really understand what I mean by when we invest in this company, and when you take in these classes and I'm teaching you, we're looking long term here. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a retire with money scheme, right? If you buy something from somebody, right? Look at this. They acquire, right, which means they buy, and then leased back under long-term absolute net lease agreement. Right? Now, what does that mean? That means that I'm going to buy something from you. I'm going to let you do all the heavy lifting, because this is exactly what I mean. And the difference is I was thinking about this way in my land in South Carolina. Now, to the people they're buying the property from, it's not a very good deal unless you only really want to be in the game for 10 to 20 years. But if you're the buyer, right, the company that, telling you we need to go ahead and get in right now because, it already has some companies, right? So it's already gaining assets. But let me explain it in layman's terms. All right, I have this property. I go get a license, or someone else gets the license, but they don't have any land. I tell them, like, look, we'll split 50-50. Give you the land for 10 years. After 10 years, whatever. Most people don't think that far, right? They think 10 years is a very long time, in which I'm hoping after you take this and this course and you realize that 10 years is really fast. It's a snap of the finger, right? In the grand scheme of life. Now, after 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, whatever agreement I was going to come up with, I didn't do it, but after, the farmer worked my land, set everything up, well, now, after he did all the heavy lifting, now I can move in, and now I can just rent it out to somebody else or just hire employees and not give 50%. So I allowed the farmer to do all the heavy lifting for me, and then I came in after it's all beautiful and took over. So that's basically what this company is doing, but on a much, much, much larger scale. They're loaning you money. They're giving you money, and then they're leasing you back the property that you just sold to them for 10 to 15 years, 10 to 20 years, right? It's not just one company they're doing this to. Let's look. Okay. This list over here goes down a lot more, obviously, because there's way more. So now they're in a lot of the states in the United States, right? You look, they're in the South. I don't know if you guys know the Bible Belt right around this area. We're always going to be slow when it comes to certain things, right? It's the Bible Belt. Does it mean that we're not going to be basically the capital? This means that we're a little slow in getting started on certain things, right? But with this company, the way that it's already taking over, best believe the second that this area becomes clean, they're going to be there, right? And we have to also take in consideration, they're not just buying land, they're buying the industrial and the retail stores. All right, let's go back to McDonald's, right? McDonald's, what business was McDonald's in? Well, Ray Kroc. Not the hamburger business. He's in the real estate business. Now, this company is basically the McDonald's of weed. If they're buying the factory, right, or the industrial grow houses, and they're also buying the place which you sell them, right, they're slowly but surely acquiring a gold mine. Because in 10 to 15 years, every last one of these properties that you see will be this company. And they get to decide whether or not they want to change the name of, let's go check out one of the companies. Emerald, whatever, Growth Partners out of Michigan, right? Okay, let me show you something. Rentable square feet, 45,000 square foot, percentage leased. 100% of this is leased, right? So this company, Randall Buckman, I guess, sold to be cash liquid. But in 10 to 20 years, the company will own that 45,000. This one, 35,000, Los Angeles. And then for the third one, this is why I wanted to kind of show you
in more than this. I picked this one to show you both sides. So we have the industrial greenhouse, 358,000 square feet, right? And then also the retail of 2,000, right? And as we see, tenant, right? Percentage is 100%, 100%. So the company that I'm telling you to get into, let's go back up here. What is it called? Innovative Industrial Properties. We're looking at the next 10 years. 10 years. An $800 million company, right? Let's say, what was this, in 2018, 17 is when they started. It was, 873 divided by, well, it was $25. Now it's tripled, right? So this divided by that in three, and then you've gained, that's how much it started. And in 2 years, it's that much more, right? I don't know if you understood my math right there. It might have been a little bit too much. But in the end, put it like this. Next 10 years, they will own every last one of these properties. Well, they already own them, but they will have the right to kick the tenant out and take over the property under its own name. So just think of the profit potential when you think of this particular company, of